Hello, this is John Hart, and welcome to IHP 340, Statistics for Healthcare Professionals. And here are some suggestions that I think will help maximize what you get out of the course. Number one here is using rubric headings in your work. For example, if the prompt asks for data analysis used in the study, you could start out with this heading and then have your response below this, or if you prefer, you could leave off the heading and perhaps just bold the words in your narrative. For example, data analysis would be bolded, consisted of, and was or was not appropriate. Prompts will be asking you about appropriateness, so don't forget to include that, whether you think it's appropriate or not. And avoid plagiarism. It's easy. When you borrow exact wording verbatim from another source, just use quotation marks around the verbatim wording and cite the source at the end of the quote, which of course is called an in-text citation. It's best to put things in your own words, though. And there's software that analyzes your submitted work, so you can check that after you submit your work, and if there's a lot of similarity, recheck your work and maybe redo it with quotation marks or put it in your own words, and then resubmit it with a note to me indicating which version you'd like me to grade. And so if there's a sizable amount that's similar without proper citation, then I do deduct points for that. This is in an effort to get you in the good habit of using proper citation. So read announcements and feedback, and my feedback is usually found in the grading rubric. Sometimes an error in an assignment is sometimes a continuing error if the student does not read my feedback. For example, from milestone 1 to milestone 2, and maybe even to the final version. So the same mistake could be counted 3 times, so that's unfortunate. So check feedback and submit your work on time. And never comment on whether a study is statistically significant unless you see a p-value. A p-value below 0.05, that's usually the typical cutoff, is statistically significant. P stands for probability, so a p-value of 0.01 means there's only a 1% chance the result happened by chance, and that's considered statistically significant, meaning that it probably did not happen by chance. So if you don't see a p-value and you're asked about statistical significance in a prompt, simply say that you do not see a p-value and therefore you're unable to comment on whether the result was statistically significant. And respond to all prompts. Sometimes a prompt will ask you to provide personal or professional related experience, and check different places for the prompts, the 2 places in the module folder and in other places in the grading rubrics. So 1 week late work is allowed for the Wiley homework and for the other assignments like journal and milestone and worksheets. Speaking of worksheets, even back to this citation, even in the worksheet, you'll be expected to properly cite, even though it's obvious where it may be obvious where you're getting the exact wording from, the verbatim. I still would expect quotation marks. at a minimum. For the Wiley, I'm not alerted as to late submissions, so if you do Wiley work late, you must send me an email to alert me so that I know to go back and regrade. So if you ever have a question, feel free to start a thread in the general questions area. Excuse me. Or you can send me an email, and I'm also available by phone. Just send me an email and we'll set up a time. For some of your Wiley work, you'll be asked to use technology, StatKey program, and this is available online. And here's the link. And I'll have a video on how to run the StatKey. So here's some paraphrasing examples from this paper. Purpose statement in the paper was not found, so you have to do a little hunting for that. I have a video on this, but in the introduction, this is a purpose statement, even though it doesn't say that per se. They examine association of heart rate with these various outcomes. And continuing with the quotation, so in my words, I would simply say, the purpose of the study was to compare resting heart rate to various disease processes. So that's a shortened version of this. So if you can get it done in fewer words, that's better. So I go through this in the video I'll be providing. And thank you for watching.